to those who have travelled here. A very, very warm welcome. I see the panel that we have today, this fireside chat, and the sort of wider Abu Dhabi story really through two lenses. As the managing editor of the Gulf region and anchor of the 2-hour primetime show for CNN International Connect the World with Becky Anderson, broadcast from our Middle East programming headquarters here in Abu Dhabi. I spent the last 12 years as a journalist very specifically looking at this region within the wider global context, although I've been around for a lot longer than that, to be honest. 30 years in the business. I also see the development and evolution of Abu Dhabi through a very key lens, which is that of a resident, of course, having lived here for over 12 years. So I think it's very clear to me the progress that's been made and the vision that we have here. I think it's very clear from our first two keynote speeches what that vision is. And it is absolutely clear that the progress to reimagining the way that this Emirates will look and live going forward is quite remarkable. The challenges exist. This is ambitious, extremely, and the pressure is always on, I think, is fair to say. So to both of you, thank you very much indeed for joining us. We've got 15 minutes, so let's be very clear about what is going on here and what you can provide. There's 2 days of really informative discussion as the delegates here look at the pipeline, look at the opportunities, and get a sense of how they can get involved. Let's start with you, Chairman, to sort of lay the table, if you will. I just heard you, obviously, we've just heard your keynote speech. But let's talk about how you define livability and how that effectively sort of stewards the vision and strategy that you have here, very briefly.
Thank you, Becky. I think you've said it all. I don't think I need to say anything more. From a livability point of view, people used to think infrastructure has always been the concrete, the steel, tunnels, bridges, utilities. I think we've moved away from calling infrastructure as these basic utilities. But from a livability point of view, our infrastructure encompasses a lot of different components. It encompasses the way people are living, the way they reach to their homes, the way they reach to their work, how other components are available from healthcare, from education, how we're creating districts, how we're creating communities. And I think the aspirations of our leadership has been high in creating a livable, and always I try to say it's a livable and a lovable. As you said, you've been here for quite some time. I know you've been living here, you've been doing extremely amazing job that you're taking care of, but you feel at home. And we want people that either nationals or residents of Abu Dhabi to feel that they are at home. We want them to come, we want them to live, to work, to retire, they have their families, and continue growing. Infrastructure and livability goes hand in hand together. How you want people to feel this is their home by having the right components at the right place, at the right time. Every district is different. And that's why it is important for us to identify the demographics, the type of livability components that are required for our infrastructure for livability districts.
And key to this is social cohesion, is connectedness, is a sustainable transport strategy that really sort of speaks to this in very practical terms. I just wonder, before we get to you, Your Excellency, about the infrastructure pipeline that's driving economic opportunities here. Chairman, how is infrastructure planning evolving to meet the demands of what is a very diverse population, whilst maintaining Abu Dhabi's position as the region's most livable city. I mean, this is a challenge.
And this tells you a lot about why His Excellency Ahmed is here and I'm here on this stage now, because economy drives our infrastructure. Infrastructures drives our economic aspirations. They are very completely tangled together. The more our economic engine is actually on steroid, the more our infrastructure has to be ready to accommodate the... He's putting me always on the spot, so he's doing an incredible job, and the team, and that's why we have to be completely ready for new people coming and living in Abu Dhabi, new type of businesses, creating new clusters as per the economic Falcon strategy that's being developed by His Excellency. It goes hand in hand. Yes, we have to be ready, but don't forget, we are a multi-ethnic communities, and we have to cater as well for different ethnicities, and how we can weave that. So that social weaving is very important. How we make everybody, again, livable and lovable. It's not easy, but it's not impossible. And we've started identifying and creating a scoring mechanism for every district, from components and from demographics, and have a very close ear to the community, understanding exactly what they need. You'll find multiple districts that are completely different because the community there requires a completely different component. Again, it's also driven by economic aspirations and economic initiatives, and we have to be ready for that.
You, of course, are overseeing the development of Abu Dhabi's master plan. I think I've asked you in the past what keeps you awake at night, and you said you sleep very soundly, so good for you. You've got the capacity to deal with an awful lot. Your Excellency, at the Abu Dhabi Department of Economic Development, or ADED, which is the acronym here, you are the catalyst for economic growth in this emirate. So, bouncing off what the chairman has just said, can you work us through how Abu Dhabi's infrastructure pipeline is driving new economic opportunities and attracting global business investment? What are your key priorities, very specifically talking to this audience?
First of all, thank you, Becky. I think before I start, there's 3 reference points just to picture it for everyone else. Number one, in the past decade, the foreign investments into Abu Dhabi has grown by 300%. So that's one reference point. Number two, the construction sector contribution to the GDP in 2024 grew by 11% from 2023 to 9.1%. So it constitutes close to 9% of GDP, which is big in terms of how heavy the diversification within Abu Dhabi is. And number three, the sector in general, the construction sector, has grown by 40% in the past 5 years. Now, you put that together, it means there's a lot of work that has been put in, whether it's from an infrastructure perspective or from a construction perspective, and from an economic perspective, of course. Now, there are specific things that investors look at when they come to any country. One of them is safety, one of them availability of infrastructure. Not only infrastructure when we talk about the hard infrastructure, but even the soft infrastructure. Are there schools? Are there hospitals? How good are the hospitals? How good are the schools? How good is the connectivity? Is talent attracted to that place? Is there housing for the people in here? What kind of houses are there? The standards of housing. All those constitute an important decision-making process within any investment that comes into here. Another thing, is there enough infrastructure and enough public-private partnerships, opportunities within the ecosystem that infrastructure funds can come in and invest in? And if there is, how is the rule of law in the country? How is the stability of the country? So all of those play an important role in actually attracting all the investments, all global investment into Abu Dhabi, plus having local investments, domestic direct investments into the infrastructure of Abu Dhabi. All those constitute an important pillar of economic growth, and why did I give the first three reference points? This proves that over the past decade or the past years, we've been providing all those important aspects of why people would want to invest here, why people want to be attracted into investment into Abu Dhabi. So all in all, that constitutes why infrastructure is an important pillar of economic growth, and why the attraction of global investments into any country, one of the major bases of it is infrastructure and the pipeline infrastructure going forward.
Can you just talk about the infrastructure pipeline at present and where you see the opportunities going forward then?
Today we're growing, where the biggest investments are not only, as His Excellency Mohamed Shorafa has spoken about, is not only in hard infrastructure but even in soft infrastructure. Another area that we're focusing on is how do we actually enable a smart city within Abu Dhabi? How do we enable Abu Dhabi to become a test bed for different technologies within Abu Dhabi? How do we enable different ideas coming into Abu Dhabi to be tested here? Not a lot of places allow this, by the way. There's very few cities around the world, very few countries around the world that actually are ready to actually explore different ideas and different opportunities that comes their ways. And I think the ease of regulation is an important part of that, which I believe is part of the legal infrastructure that we need within Abu Dhabi.
This is this sort of sense of Abu Dhabi as a sandbox to a degree.
True.
And we see that in, for example, you know, the clusters that have been developed here. And Chairman, do you just want to give our audience a sense of how those sectoral clusters play a role in the kind of wider Abu Dhabi master plan?
Just to add on His Excellency Ahmed's point before answering your question, I agree with His Excellency. Private sector is an important partner in this journey where Abu Dhabi is going. Yes, we can build all the infrastructure that we need, but I think it's very important from an economic prosperity as well as to share and involve the private sector in this future developments, not because lack of financial availability, but best practices, international experience, faster development, and creating an economic prosperity. The clusters that you talked about, and they are also driven, and he drives a lot of my master plan, I'll be honest with you. The Falcon economy drives a lot of our urban plan and the refresher that will be announced publicly maybe in the next month or month and a half, and how Abu Dhabi is expanding. And that expansion depends on a lot of the economic clusters that are being developed by the Department of Economic Development in different areas, either technology, industrial, pharmaceuticals, healthcare, and they are all in different places, taking into consideration how we build around those from livability and how connected these industries are together in clusters. And by doing that, it tells us, okay, how many people we believe are going to be attracted into Abu Dhabi because we have that new cluster developments and the initiatives that His Excellency Ahmed and the team are developing and attracting a lot of foreign direct investments, as you heard. And that puts a lot of, obviously, positive strain, if I can put it this way, a positive strain on our infrastructure, and I have to be ready for him when those investors and opportunities are open, because we cannot wait. Aspirations of our leadership is very high, and we need to push as fast as possible. And yes, sometimes I do sleep very well, and sometimes I don't sleep, but I think that's all among all of my colleagues. But our master plan is a very dynamic plan. It's not a fixed plan. It's a very variable plan because changes happen.
And that's important. The agility and the facility to pivot What you can't control, of course, are the global and regional headwinds. And, we would be bereft by not, just marking that off. So I guess the message then that we should leave for the audience is one from both of you, that as this fireside is designed and has done an extremely good job in providing an overview of strategy, as this audience spends the next 2 days discussing Abu Dhabi's future projects pipeline, over 600 projects, as I understand it, valued at more than sort of $50 billion. What do you want the key message to be as far as the sustainability of this emirate and its project pipeline to be for this audience?
In a nutshell, I think the message is that we are open for new ideas, opportunities, partnerships. Abu Dhabi is expanding. Abu Dhabi is expanding on all levels, and everybody around this room and outside of this room sees how all departments and government entities are really working towards one objective, and we are hand in hand together into this. It's not always going to be government driven. It has to be a relationship between public and private in driving Abu Dhabi's prosperity and developing our master plan going forward, based on our leadership's aspiration and obviously our economic strategy.
And Excellency, final word on economic resilience, competitiveness, and message ultimately to this audience.
If there is one message that I have for everyone, if one would want to assess the past 50 years as a track record of Abu Dhabi, I think they have a very good picture of what comes in the next 50 years. And if there's one city in the world that has been, since the credit rating of Abu Dhabi years ago, it is the only city in the world that has never gotten downgraded and never gotten a negative outlook. That just tells you how resilient the economic landscape of Abu Dhabi is. And that's a very strong message, I think, for everyone. And that's one of the major reasons why the major companies around the world, not only in traditional sectors, but also in new age sectors, are actually coming to Abu Dhabi to invest in Abu Dhabi, to invest with Abu Dhabi. And that's an important message. So I think the track record of the past 50 years just gives you a glimpse of what's coming over the next 50 years.
Well, Abu Dhabi is reimagining what it means to be and build a city. I see it every day as a resident here, a mum of two, using the healthcare and schooling system here. The vision, ambitious. It is also crystal clear. This is the emergence of a city where quality of life, economic prosperity, and connectivity really do converge. You've heard the sort of strategic overview. I wish you the best of luck with what comes next over the next couple of days. You'll get another panel with me over the next hour or so, which gives you a further sense of what is going on here and what the opportunities are this morning. But for the time being, thank you to both of you for a very inspiring start. Thank you.